Hey guys, Mike here. Starting with this video, I'm gonna make a series of guides for all dungeons specific to Outlaw rogues. So it's gonna cover what you can cloak, vanish, or any other trick that can be useful to you guys. And we're gonna start with workshop, so let's get right into it. For the first part of the dungeon, most groups usually have tanks solo the trash, but if your group is not one of them, just make sure to kick detonate and try to place rocket barrage on the mobs since it will damage the mobs as well. Before the first boss activates, you should stand where my character is standing on this clip, so you can bait the boss to charge the nearest hammer since it will do damage to the boss. For Vent Jet, just make sure to stand behind the boss and use feint every time. Save your Cloak of Shadows for when you're targeted by it, so you can safely attack the boss during it. You can still attack the boss if you do get targeted at max range, but it is risky as you can get one shot from it if you mess up your steps. You also don't want to vanish if you're targeted since it doesn't reset the ability and it will target you back as soon as you're out of stealth. It will also target someone else for the second you are in stealth, so it can potentially put your party members out of position and risk them getting hit by a Vent Jet's direct damage. Once Vent Jet is finished, he'll charge at whoever has the highest threat on the boss, but it is most likely you have reset threat with vanish by this point, so you don't have to worry about baiting as much. For Whirling Edge, you can just max melee range the boss and it won't hit you at all, or you can also use evasion to be safe. Main thing to know for this big trash mob is to make sure to stand on the opposite side of the tank, as it has frontal ability. For the Mega Drill AoE, you can use evasion if it's up and stay in. For the little ooze explosions when they die, you can LOS it using the edge of the wall here or any of the pillars, or you can just Cloak of Shadows. For the second boss, there are a couple tricks you can do. You can use Vanish to stop explosive ability altogether, and boss always seems to jump to the furthest player first. So you just grapple hook out as far as possible and vanish as soon as you see the boss jump like you see here, and it won't jump to the next player and stop the ability altogether. For Venting Flames, there's a way to attack the boss while being out of line of sight of this ability. For you to do this, the tank has to place the boss next to the box, and you just need to hug the box while trying to slowly back out on the boss until you get the buff called hiding behind junk. After that, you should be able to attack the boss normally while being safe from the AoE. As soon as the boss is dead, the door to treadmill will open and you just have to climb the treadmill a little bit and you can grappling hook past most of it. For trash here, try to kick as much Gigawell up as possible, as they start to do a lot of damage as the key gets higher, and watch out for personnel squirrel. If you're in a bad position with the squirrel, you can interrupt this cast by stunning it. For the 3 bots here, you should focus the number 3 guy as he casts nasty AoE ability called Short Out. You can use feint or cloak to mitigate the damage whenever he's casting it as well. The spider bot has frontal ability to dodge, so try to be behind him at all times. He also casts some type of pizza slice ability, and you just have to make sure to be in a slice that does not have blue light on. As for the maze, you can just hug right and go behind the pillar to avoid most of the bots to the middle area. Once you get to this point, you can just use Door of Shadows to skip the rest. So the trash here are basically some combination of trash from before, and try to stay in the shield as much as possible to minimize damage taken. For this boss, you can stun the plant that spawns, but since it's most likely you have another stun in your party, it's better to let them stun since using Kidney Shot loses more DPS than any other class with stuns. For the hidden flame cannon, it's usually a good idea to stack on the tank to start, to make sure you're on the same side as the tank. But if for some reason you are divided, you can use Cloak to cross the beam without taking any damage. You can also use Cloak on every ability on this fight, so if you think you're in trouble and can't dodge some of the stuff going on, you can use Cloak then as well. Once the boss dies, you get 2 spiders that have the same ability from previous trash except for the pizza slice. For these guys, just make sure to kill the far one first, as that one will activate the robot to take you to the next level, and it takes a while for it to get down. Once you get up to the next level, trash here is more of the same ones from before, and try to be in the shield especially during Short Out. For the last trash here, most people try to skip it as they are really nasty, and you should be 100% mob count by this point if you haven't skipped anything before. You can't use Shroud Skip since mobs have True Sight, and the best way to skip is a Warlock Gate if you have one. If not, that skip is the only other way to skip, and it is possible for a tank to pull the mobs to a corner for the rest of the party to skip. But that takes a lot of coordination as it's really easy to get in combat with these mobs. If you are an engineer, what you can do is grappling hook past them like this, and have your healer die in a spot for you to rest, and you can skip this way as well. For the last boss, you should try to be on the edge of the room during first phase, since it is a lot harder to dodge those orbs in the middle of the room. When he is casting Cutting Beam, you can be in max melee range and still hit the boss while dodging this ability. For the last phase of the boss, save your Vanish for when he casts Giga Zap, as you can Vanish to cancel one of the 3 casts. If your Vanish is down, use Cloak at last second, and sometimes the boss will target you twice if you do, and it will last through the consecutive casts. Hope I covered everything for this dungeon, and if you guys have any questions or other tricks that you can do that I haven't mentioned, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.